Dave here. How are you? Today I'm hoping I have sound. If you can leave a comment in the box, that'd be great, because last week it was terrible. And the video's coming through well. I can see on the other monitor here. It looks okay. AV is all good. Excellent. I just need to do something here. Give me a second. That, edit privacy and public. Done. All sorted. Okay, I've got all the socials out of the way. I hope you've had a great week. And what have we got today? Today is the 3rd of October 2021. Cool. Now, on the show today, it's going to be a little bit of a mix. Some hand tools, some power tools, and also how to change a bandsaw blade. Reading down through here, wooden hand plane project. You know, you may have seen I've done some posts on Instagram and Facebook. This is a blank that I've made up. Now the bottom here is Jarrah, the top on both sides are rock maple, and down the middle is purple heart. This is basically to give an accent. Now this is the blank of the body of the plane. We're also going to rip a bit of Paduke, and it's this timber that's on the side of this plane here. So I'm going to make it almost identical to this, but much shorter. This one's going to be a number 5, or just smaller than a number 5. This is what's called a trying plane, or you could call it a jointer if you wanted to. So rock maple, but I'm going to have a purple heart stripe down the center. I think it's going to look pretty slick. I'm still going to be using Veritas's instructions and one of their kits. I don't have any links down there. You can find them if you want to somewhere around the web. But these are really, really nice. This is a slightly narrower blade, so it's almost going to be like my number 5 Turner. Aren't these beautiful? Now, what else we got? And a quick look at the table from last week. Actually, we'll do a little bit of planing first, then we'll go and have a look at the table. And you can see I've got the casters fitted to it, and you might be interested to see how all of that works. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm having a look down the side here. You can see everyone's saying good day, and the sound is fine. All right. Now, I'll switch over to this camera on the side here. Actually, I might switch to the pair of them. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, that's not too bad. So you got me up in the corner here, up here, and also over there. So I'm putting this blank in on my bench. I've got some things set up. I'll show you on Patreon, or sorry, on CarlCam, how it works. There's a corner stop here that John made for me, a single stop, and I've got a clamping element from Festool there. I pull that up like that, just go like that, and it's held. Now, why am I holding it like that when I'm pushing this direction? Stops the back of this blank lifting as I'm planing. So let's go to, yeah, camera 3 will do fine. All right, I'm going to use a couple of different planes. I'll use the trying plane. This is probably a little bit of overkill for this. Let's see how we go. Okay, you can see it's taking nice shavings. Let's go to the number 5. Why not? Share the love. Which way am I going? I think I'm going into the grain there. Yes, wrong way around, David. Spin it around. See, the number 5 just had a little bit of a bite at the beginning. I may also have the blade down too low. Let me just check. Lowering it down. The other direction for lowering it down, David. So I'm just sighting down over the top, all the way down. I normally try and take it so it's just clear, and it's not really biting there. Now I'll just slowly lower it. Come on. When I said slowly lower it, slowly lower it. It was too much. Take it back all the way up there. That's better. Well, that's biting into it all right. Skipping a little. Nearly there. Let's try the smoother. That's better. Nearly. We haven't got to the Purple Heart yet. We're just starting. See that? It's just starting to come off now. Nearly there. One more. There we go. Lovely. Didn't take too much, did it? I'm out of nick. All right, so I've got it. That's what we've got. And around through the jarrah. I'm going to dock this end off. Give me a second. I'm not going to cut it to any specific length. Just going to cut it off. There we go. So that now is my blank ready to go. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to cut down here and a radius here. This is going to be the escapement. This is going to be the blade bed. The length doesn't really matter. It's a wooden hand plane. I can make it however long or short I want, just so long as it's easy to handle and it has enough on this side to act as a reference after the blade at the front has cut, and it will follow along on this part here. It's not much to it, really. So that's what we're going to do. I'll change the cameras back over here. Having a quick look down the side here. I don't know what, someone said something, a good idea there. I don't know, what is the name of the block plane kit you're using? Let me see. There it is. So that's what they want you to have it look like, but it's free form. You'll see as this one goes along, mine is hardly going to look like this at all. As you can see, I have my own design as how I want to do it. I start making something, I look at it, and it speaks to me. You know, it sounds weird. It really does sound weird, but that's how I roll with it. It really is. Okay. Whilst we've got the saw happening over there, I'm going to cut this as well, but I'll explain how I get to this point. Now, in here, they give you instructions for the sizes of the timber. So I'll just show you that quickly. There's all these little details that they have. Now, I'm going to use their dimensions for the plain blade bed and also for the escapement. The rest of it, the top, is all going to be how I want it to be. Now, I'm going to rip some Paduk in a minute, and then we'll get on to changing the bandsaw blade. So it's mixed up a little bit. It's not just a show about one specific project. Now, if you're watching and all you're wanting to see is how to change a bandsaw blade, I possibly will save this part of the recording and create a video specifically on how to change a bandsaw blade. So you may or may not want to hang around, your call. If you're wanting to watch this specifically on how to make this plane, I've already done a video on how I built the other one here, this drawing plane. You may want to have a look at that. If you're wanting to just hang out and watch the process as I do it again, and I'm going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to do some snazzy things as far as the hand grip on this one's concerned. It's going to be a really sexy little plane. And, you know, it's a slow-paced show. It's not bang, 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 here's the plane. Okay, so that's how I'm doing it with these particular shows. All right, now this had to be 1 11/16 inches wide this way and 2.5 inches thick this way. So 2.5 inches is 63 millimeters. I try and speak in both measurements because I have a lot of people in metric and a lot of people watch that are accustomed to imperial. So 1 11/16 is basically 42 millimeters. So 1 12/16 is the same as 1 inch and 3/4. So it's 1/16, which is around about 1.5 millimeters less than 1 inch and 3/4. See, switching between measurements straight away. All right. Now, I think I'll go up to Carl Cam for this part here because this is the marking out part. Move that out of the way. You can see I already have some marks here. You're going to see it on the rock maple much better than you will on the jarrah. But basically they've said 3 inches, which is around 76 millimeters, this direction, and that's what I've got. I'll just come back with this tape a little bit. So 3 inches is here. I've got to be careful with tapes rolling off that I don't hit the stop stream button. So 3 inch, 76, and you do a square line up. And I'll just show you where I've done that. We'll draw it in a little bit harder. There. See it? Now, they say to come up 1/4 inch from the base, which is 6.35 millimeters. So I've already put a mark there at 1/4 inch, but I'll just check it again to make sure that we all know what's going on. That's half, 3/8, 1/4. There. All right, see the 1/4 inch mark just here, 6.35 millimeters, 6 millimeters is close enough. Go Imperial, good on you, John. Now, they say from here, from this point, I need to do a 4-inch arc. So I'm now going to, this is one of the reasons why I've dressed this down to 2.5 inches from there to there, because I need to come from here to wherever I intersect the top of the plane body. Okay, so I need to go 4 inches up that way, which is about 102 millimeters. Now, I tend to use tapes rather than mucking around with the end bit here. I'm going to the 8-inch point here, just there at my mark, which is there, very close, and I'm going to pivot that round till I hit 4. There's the 4-inch mark right there. Okay. Now, I've also got a 45 from there to there, and I'll prove that it's 45 degrees by putting the square on there, showing you that it is 45 degrees. Okay. Now, I don't have a compass. I need to create an arc from here, there, 4 inches. Now, 4 inches is the same as 8-inch diameter. 4-inch radius is the same as 8-inch diameter. Now, I'm going to use a paint can. This paint can is 7 inches. But honestly, for something that's called the escapement, which is this area here, this is for where the shavings come up out of the plane. So for the escapement, I'm going to use this. Let me see. I'm going to come across from here to there 4 inches and from there to there 4 inches. And then I'm going to put that tin on it. Over there, that's 8 inches. That's the top of my escapement. Okay, just here. So I'm going to put the tin can on here, and here. And then I'm just going to create the arc. It's a whole lot easier. Like so. There. That's it. So the blade is going to lie on here, and the shavings are going to come up out of here. So I have to cut this out. Now I'm going to cut from this point, and I'm going to have this kept. This will be my waist. All right, and then this will be waist as well. So I'm going to do a 45 right up there. Then I'm going to change the bandsaw blade over in a minute, and I'll cut this, and we'll clean it up with the bobbin sander. All right, give me a second. I'll just knock this off at 45. Get my muffs. Where are they? Here they are. Give me a sec. I'm back in a flash. Oh, you might want to watch this. You really might. This is something, I'll just switch the cameras over. This is something that I have to make life a little bit easier. On this particular saw, I've got a clamp. Now, a lot of saws have got clamps. I have a piece of dressed pine that's square at one end, 45 at the other. And I put it in here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, I'm going to take it past a little bit. And then I swing the clamp around on it and lock it. And that's my fence. That's my zero clearance fence. So now, when I swing this around to 45, I'm going to cut this. So you ready? We're going to make a noise. So you might want to turn the sound down. Wait for it to finish and lift. Now that's my I've just tuned the saw to that, or tuned this to the saw. That's exactly where the cut's going to be. So now it's a matter, let me see if I can lift this up a little for you. Sorry, you have to look at the ceiling or something in the meantime. I wasn't going to show this part, but I thought, you know, why not? Might make it easy for a few people. Okay. Let me see if you can see that. Yes, you can. This 45 degrees, this is my waist side. Now I can just line this up perfectly with this edge here. And if I want to be really, really careful, it's not going to go anywhere, but if I want to be really, really careful, I could put a clamp on here as well. Like so. So it's not going to go anywhere. It's not. So that's held. This is, remember, this part here is the waist. I've got to keep this part here. So I'll do this cut. It's not a bad cut, is it? I love this saw. Release this. And that's my blade rest. Looks sexy, doesn't it? All right, back over here. Where are we? Patreon cam. Okay, so I'm going to have a quick read down the side here. Easy enough to make a compass from a thumbtack, a piece of cardboard and a pencil. Of course it is. Of course it is, but this worked. Okay, now I'm going to use the bandsaw first with the blade that's on it, which is my resaw blade, to rip some padauk flat and then sideways. We're going to split it, so it'll be for the sides. Then we're going to switch the blade over. So I'll bring this camera back up here. I like using tin cans. Okay, about there. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's about it. And I think, Zoe's sign in the way again. Hell's bells. All right, we'll move that out of the way. This is the padauk that I'm going to cut a piece off, and I don't want to waste the whole board, so I'm going to cut it and then I'm going to nick the end. I was going to cut this part, but look, there's a split in it here, so I'm going to work the other end. All right, let me have a look here. I'll shut the saw up. Oh, one thing you can see here, a lot of people have made comment that they like to have the teeth of the blade right on the crown of the wheel. I'm not one of those people. I like to have the blade centered on the tyre, the whole blade centered on the tyre, not just the teeth. I don't want the back of this blade hanging out in midair. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy. Anyway, the smaller blades, it's really neither here nor there, but the big blades, make them right on the tyre. All right, we'll shut this up and close that. Close that. This saw has got micro switches in the doors, so I cannot start it if the doors are open. I'll make sure that the blade is tensioned. Yes, all good. It's hooked up to the dust extraction in the workshop. I'm going to set the blade, or set the width that I want, which is around there. Where are we? 2.5 is what I'm after. Yep. All right. Now I'm not going to rip all the way. Where are we? There, 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 and there. All right, I'm going to rip down to this line here. I'm going to lower the blade down a little bit, or lower the guides down to about there. This saw works really nicely. And I'm hoping that the saw is going to perform really, really well. Now it's hooked up through the automatic blast gates. I've got my hearing protection and eye protection. You'll notice that if you're part of my live stream chat group on Facebook, which there are links for, one of the members had an accident with the saw. Not my saw, his saw. He was wearing goggles, but what happens, some timber hit the deck and bounced back up and ricocheted and got him right in the jaw. The timber that he was using had all sorts of different figures, and I think partly a piece of the timber released. It wasn't all held together, it was very decorative. This one is really substantial, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, we'll start this up. And I'll just run it through. So there. I love this saw. How nice is that blade? Give it a couple of seconds, it's going to stop. I'm going to dock this off on the Capex. Won't be long. All right. So I'll show you a little bit here how it's going to be working. That's kind of what we're going to be looking at. So this is the blade rest. The escape is going to be cut out of here, so that'll be down around about there. We're going to have this, I'm going to split this one in half now, straight down here, and book match it, so it'll be either side, or both sides. To do that, I need to raise the blade up so that I'm clear of this fence. Or sorry, raise the guard up so I'm clear of the fence, which is there. And bring her across. So we're going to be splitting it right down the middle. Now to test whether we've got center, I'm going to put it in like that, now flip it over and go again. And we'll have a quick look at the end to see what it's like. Everything's good. Okay, so you can see I'm centered. Everything's going to work. All right, now bandsaws, look at the size of the teeth on this thing. Don't mess with them. I'm going to use this. This is the best push block I've ever had. On the end, these little guys roll out like so. So they get a hold of the back of the timber, and you'll notice that it's not wider than half, so it's going to be fine. I won't be cutting them. I'll be able to hold the timber up against the fence and also push it forwards. Come back over here. It's a great system. I love that saw. And that resaw blade, remember, wait for the machine to turn off. Auto blast gates, I love them. They're fantastic. Wait for the dusty to turn off. Come on, you can do it. Beautiful. I don't have to second guess or think, have I got the blast gate open? Have I turned the dusty on? It just automatically happens. Okay, so there's my two halves of Paduke. Isn't Paduke a beautiful timber too? Really orange. That's what it's like a carrot. Okay, and book matched. And it's a nice figure. Some nice grain in there. Okay, I can go ahead and not worry about planing these because I'm going to join them this way. Hi Guy, how are you? Hey David, how are you? When is getting the boat hauled? Okay. Now, let's bring the other two pieces over. You can still see how sexy it's going to be. Then we're going to have a look at the table. I'll just do it like this. That's how it's going to look. Isn't that beautiful? You can't tell me that doesn't get you rock you. It doesn't get your rocks off, what I was going to say. It's going to be just such a beautiful hand plane. All right, let's go out there and have a look at the table, and we'll have a quick chat about that. G'day, Carl, how are you? I'm going to take this out to here. Oh, and I've been given a hard time by John Lowry saying, when are you going to make a pantograph that I can have cameras mounted on walls and all that kind of stuff? I'm going to start looking into it. All right. Hey, Nathan, how are you? Camera 3. Okay, we'll go out there. Now you'll notice, first of all, we'll have a look at the top. This is the oil that I use, that Interbuild oil, and it's just lovely. After the show last week, I let it sit for a while and I rubbed it all off again with microfiber cloth, and that tended to get rid of the high points that were shiny and all that kind of stuff. And now it's lovely. These areas here have got black pigment in them, with the black pigment with the Technobond epoxy, and it looks really, really nice. I love it. And there's other parts where it's just got the casting resin that I've let it seep in and stay for a few days, and it's kind of held little things like this guy over here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that is a very, very fine slither, because underneath here is the pith of the tree. So it's the middle of the tree, and the timber in that area is pretty unstable and it can split easily. There's another bit of pith over here. I think it's probably even the same tree. So that's right in the middle. Let me see if I can show you a little bit more detail there as to what I'm talking about. It's not going to go any further, sorry. Flip that over there. I might be able to get another millimetre or two. Okay, so down here is where the pith of the tree is. Let's come back over here now. All right, so underneath is where I wanted to have a look and show you guys how it wheels around. So you can see I've got the wheels on it there. Raise her up a little bit further. About there. Now, someone also was concerned that the table is too top heavy. Now, I can sit on it. It's not going anywhere. I'm right on the edge. You know, that's good enough for me. It's not going to go anywhere. Now, the wheels, I'll just lock them in. Now, these are designed for workbenches. So if you've got a heavy workbench and you want to be able to move it inside your workshop, get yourself these things. These are brilliant. Show you how easy it moves around. Remember, this is 160 kilograms. How cool is that? Put it wherever I want. And remember, this has also got rubber feet. And you might say, Dave, that looks bloody ugly like that. Well, yes and no. What you do is, let's pull it back a little bit. Just with your toe. Okay, it's down. Nearly. Now it is. Now it's down. Let me have a quick look in the screen so we can see if you see what I'm doing. Lift her up a little bit. Okay. What I do now is little pins on the side. Doesn't look so ugly now, does it? There we go, and that's how it sits. All right. And the arch looks fantastic. My harbour bridge. All right, I'm going to have a quick read down the side here. Role-playing gave me the fizz every time I see a guy. Good morning, Colt. Kiwi, you just saw me do it. The wheels should be, they should be. All right, next thing we're going to do is changing this bandsaw blade. Now this is something that I've seen discussed on my Facebook page, and you know, it's really, really easy, and if you keep your wits about you and just think logically about what's got to happen, everything will be fine. I'm going to bring that camera back in. The first thing we need to do, the other thing I was going to say is, you know, I move around a lot, don't I? The other thing I was going to say is, these shows are this particular format. I notice there's about 79 people watching at the moment. There could be more. It's a long weekend in Australia, so maybe a lot of people are trying to get out and not watch. But it's not a bang, 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 there's the finished product. It's a discovery. We're doing the things together. I'll do a fair bit on the show, and then during the week, I'll do stuff like during the week, I'll probably glue this plane together so it's ready for the next step. If I do something that's a little bit intricate during it, I'll video that part and I'll play it back on the show next week. All right? So I hope you can handle it, put up with me, or if you've got nothing else to do, you know, why not? All right, changing the bandsaw blade. Most important thing to do right at the beginning, disconnect the power. So there's the cable, and I like to do that so that I know it's there, I'm safe. That's the big thing. All right, I'm going to take the rip fence off, put it to the side, and I might bring this camera in as well to watch what's happening. Let's see. Yeah, about there. It's rotating. Why is it doing that? Done. I think that's going to be better. All right. Now, when we're changing a blade, we need to detension. I need to detension the blade. So at the moment, the blade has tension around the back here, and I'm going to flip the wheels on this as well so I can move the machine around. On the back here, I have the tension lever. So I can do this, and now the blade has lost all the tension on it. So it's now kind of loose. Then I'm going to remove this. Bring this in closer. This guy here is specifically designed to keep these two sides of the table, the work table, coplanar and in line, all that kind of stuff. This slot here is so I can take the blade out. If you didn't have this, you'd be in trouble. Okay. Now, this one also is a little bit tight. There you go, that's out. Next thing I do is I take the throat insert out, and this is one that John made for me because it's nice and red, and it says, you know, danger, warning, warning, Will Robertson. All right, got that done. Now I'm going to release all of the guides. So I'm going to release this one, which is the thrust race, and pull it back. I'm going to release the two on at the top, the two blade guides. Now this one is a toolless situation, so I've moved them away. So nothing is inhibiting where the blade is at the moment up the top here. Okay, nothing at all. I'll spin this around, you can see there, everything's cool. I'm going to do that below the table as well. And I know that some people will tilt the table at 45. You can do that if you want to. I don't normally do it. I'm wondering whether or not this is going to be tall enough now. I'll get the Allen key that I usually have around here. Here it is. This is a 5mm. Underneath on my saw, the thrust race, there's an Allen key I need to undo, an Allen head bolt, and then I can back the thrust race away. And then it also has two of those races under there that are identical to what happens up the top here. But if you don't do this, you're going to be in all sorts of strife. Now the blade has got plenty of movement there. Don't leave anything on top of the machine. Next thing to do is I'm going to open the cabinet up like so, and I need it open all the way open because the blade lives in here and here. I'm going to detension the blade as well using this guy. On the side here, on my particular saw, there's a blade tension indicator. Okay, just here. So I'm going to lower it down. Now the blade is really loose, flopping around all over the place. Now I'm in a situation where I can take it off. Don't have your blade guard up past the halfway point on the wheel because it will start inhibiting what can happen here. So I'm going to slowly turn it to release it, backwards and forwards. There she goes. Now this is the biggest blade that I've got. So we need to be careful for two reasons. I don't want to damage the blade and I don't want to damage myself. There we go. Rotate it. It should be out of that guard down there. If you want to wear eye muffs, you can do that as well, or something on your eye to give yourself a bit of protection. Turn it sideways and it should come along that slot. There it is. And out it comes. All right, there it is. Now that I've got the blade out, what do I do with it? Well, I'm just going to hook it on there for a second. And I'll bring this back to about here so you can see how I fold it up. There's all sorts of different ways of doing it. I'm going to have a look, see if I can find a glove. Not that I can't do it without a glove, but if you've got a glove, it makes life a little bit more comfortable. I've been using them somewhere, I'm sure. All right, if I can't find a glove, what I'll do is I'll just use a rag. Be just as good. All right. Tip this up just a touch. There's a couple of ways you can do it. One way is to hold the blade with two hands and up against a bench, and away you go. I like to do it like this. So with the pointy side facing towards me. And I think I better tip it down just a touch. There. You can see my foot. All right. Put your foot on it, like so. So it's not going to go anywhere. And you push down and twist. All right. Come on. Get that rag out of there. There it is. It's pretty easy. That's it. And it'll sit like that. There's no, you can put a zip tie on it if you want to. It's not going to go anywhere. Then I've got a smaller blade that I'm going to put on. This is a 10mm or 3/8 and 6 TPI. TPI means teeth per inch. So you can see there, it's got 6 teeth per inch. So 6 teeth per 25, you could say if you wanted to, 25mm. So we open it up and still keep control of it. I'll get my foot on it down there and done. If you throw it on the floor, you run the risk of damaging it. And when we're putting it back into the machine, we want to make sure that the teeth are on the downstroke. I can't bring this back. It's a pretty easy situation. You can see it all there. Slide her in. Spin her around. Move that out of the way. Get that up in the guard area there, like so. Down the bottom, through all the paraphernalia. There's a brush down the bottom of mine as well. Now I'm going to tension it up a little bit straight away so it doesn't flop around. Right, what's it catching on down there? I think cool. I'm just going to pull this lever on the back, see if I can pull a bit more tension up on it. Yeah. And drop it back down a little bit by the spring. Okay. Got him there. So what I've done, come back here a little bit. The blade is in and it's got a bit of tension. I'll back the tension off on it. I've pulled the lever up, which has tensioned the blade up. I'm going to turn it slowly so that I know that it's going to track okay. And it's tracking on the bottom fine. It's not touching any of the guides. All right. Now, one of the other things to do is to see where it's tracking on the wheel. Now it's tracking way too far at the back for me. So on my saw, I have written here an arrow facing this direction on this here, which this particular knob adjusts the angle of the top wheel. So whether it's going to tilt forwards or tilt backwards. If the wheel tilts backwards, if the blade is going to want to try and climb to the highest point of the tyre on the wheel. So on mine, I've got written towards the back of the wheel, so the wheel at the front is going to tilt forwards, which means the blade is going to climb the tyre. So if I want to bring it back, that's what the direction I go. If I want it to go towards the front, the blade to go towards the front of the cabinet, I turn this counterclockwise. And that will work because I have a window here that I can watch what's happening. I'm going to rotate it a bit more and she's coming towards the crown and I want it to go past that. So you can see I'm turning it with my finger. The blade machine is still turned off. And she's coming towards the front. Beautiful. That's exactly where I want it. I'll bring the camera in closer so you can see exactly where it is. So it's right in the middle of the tyre. I do not like favouring the teeth on the crown of the tyre. It's just me. So I have a window here so I can see as I turn this that the blade takes up the correct position. When I first put it on, it was right at the back of the tyre. So it's one of those things, that's just me. Now, whilst we've got it at this stage, you might notice that I have this here. This is the tension indicator. In the book that this came with, it's got all the different size blade widths and the position to tension it to. Now this is the 3/8 standard blade, so it needs to be tensioned 2 to 3. So it's at the moment it's on 2. I can tighten that up a little bit and go 3. That's not bad. I'm happy with that. Whilst I've got it like this, the wheel at the back, the adjuster at the back, I'll lock it. So this guy there is the lock. Now I need to do all of the blade guides. So with the blade guides, you try and get it so that they're just kissing the blade. Now on these ones, these are really easy to use. You roll them like that. Don't be tempted to roll them over the top, because if they come loose, they're going to start wanting to close in on the blade. So I always go like so, and it's just missing. Tighten that little thumb screw up, and the one on the other side, bring it in, just missing. Now, one of the important things we have to do is make sure that we're not going to stuff up the set on the blade. To do that, we have to make sure that these guys are back. Now, to do that, I need to release this and pull the whole assembly back this way, because these, I can't adjust these individually backwards and forwards. I can with the thrust race, but these ones I can only adjust in towards the blade. So to do that, I'll need that Allen key or hex wrench, whatever you want to call it, back here, and release that. And then now I have to make sure that I've got these back. So it's only going to be running on the one bearing, and that's looking pretty good right there. The other thing to note is if I had this blade any further back on the top wheel, I'd run out of adjustment down here. Okay, so it's just got to be careful. So that's fine. That's fine. The thrust race now I can bring forward until it's just missing. The thrust race here is designed so as I put load on the blade, as I push timber against the blade, it can't push back too far. But we don't want it actually touching the blade, because it's going to keep on spinning and spinning and spinning, and it's going to wear the race out. So that's what I've done at the top. I'm going to do exactly the same underneath. You probably won't need to watch because there's no real need. It's exactly the same as on the top, but I have to do it. I'm just moving the thrust race up, the lower thrust race, and I'm going to lock it. I've moved the side races that hold the blade from going all over the place in. And undo that, roll it in, lock it, roll it in, and lock it. Give it a turn so I can see if it's touching anything. It's all good. Okay, now I can shut the cabinet. There's one other thing to be aware of, and that is with a bandsaw, this whole table is held on to the saw by what's called the trunnion. Now the trunnion is the mount underneath, and it allows the table to do the tilting and all that kind of stuff. Now don't think for a second that when you put your saw together the trunnion is going to be aligned. I've done a video on how to set the trunnion up. The reason we need to set the trunnion up, if you're going to use a miter gauge and you're using it to cut timber with the saw, because that's what it does, it cuts wood, and you want it to cut perfectly square, you have to tune the table to the blade. The whole table here can move around on those trunnion bolts, and you can loosen them off and tighten them up, get it perfect, and I show you in that video as well how to do it. So now the blade is tensioned, I have the right tension here on the blade. I've got the lever tensioning the whole blade. One of the other things, quickly, while I'm here, something you might want to do is a little tip. Up the top here, I have written the blade size. Now it's in black text here, you're not going to a Sharpie pen. That's what I did. Blade 3080, April 2019. That's when I got the machine. So that's another little tip, so you don't have to go looking all over the place. When you open it up, you know exactly what size. If you've run out of blades, you haven't got the packet that it came with, you'll be able to spot it straight away and get in touch with whoever you buy your blades from and say, I need a 3080. And they might turn around and say, that's a rare blade, haven't seen that one, Dave. That's a tiny one, depending on who you're getting to make them. Okay, last thing to do, two things. Put the insert back in. Slip that down again. Make sure all the dust is out of the way, because if this insert's sitting up, it's just going to stuff you up. That's all down flat. And then put this back in. The washer goes at the bottom. It's just the bolt, the nut I should say, slides into there. Again, give that a bit of a clean out. There we go. I think that's right. Tighten him up. And that brings the whole table coplanar. All right, now I can do my fancy cutting on this bit. So I've got to cut that round. And I couldn't do that with the big resaw blade. Next thing to do is lower this down. Down to the bearings, or very close to them. Should be fine. Lock the height. Bring this back a little bit and then take it off its wheels. I don't like using it when it's up on the mobile base. How good are those wheels on the table? I love them. They're so cool. All right, so this is where we're going to do the cut. How are we doing for time? Just about there. I hope it hasn't been boring you too much. And next thing, this part here. About there. Okay, you can come right in close on this one. Alrighty. I'm going to check that the saw is running correctly. It's going to stand out of its way and turn it on. How nice is that? I'm going to go and check out the window up the top. That the blade's tracking well. And it's tracking beautifully. All right. Now we can cut this. Going a bit slower in the jarrah. We're going to give this a clean. We use the bobbin sander. Spin you around here, turn the locks on. Okay, here we go. No, we don't. All right, if you've got a Google appliance, be careful. I'm just about to talk to Google. Hey, Google, turn the charger on.
Okay, but first you'll have to unlock your device.
Oh, no, come on, play fair. Hey, Google, turn the charger on.
Okay, turning on the battery charger.
Hooray. Okay, here we go. I have the Dusty and everything hooked up to here. to the battery charger for the PowerPoint. Won't be long. Just a little bit more up the top. How nice is that? Switch the cameras. Back here. Okay. Okay, don't need a bandsaw to cut butterflies in a frame of pattern. All right, I was just having a quick read down the side here. There's probably a whole heap of stuff that I need to catch up on. But look, this is the escapement. It's going to be such a sexy plane. And honestly, at the beginning of the show, you were probably thinking, lame, lame. There we go. So that's the blade rest here and the escapement here, nice and curled, and the Paduk on the sides. It's going to look lovely down the middle like a GT stripe, and then the base is Jarrah and Paduk are in the plan blade. David, write that again, buddy, so I can understand what you said. It's going to be sexy. Now, during the week, I have to drill a hole here and create a slot around here as well for the Norris adjuster. I'll show you that in this plane. There's a whole lot of, it's so much fun. When I get this out, why has that happened? I do not know. It's moved into there. This one out of there, come on. So I have to create this area here for the adjuster. So there's a little cup that we're going to screw in. I'll do this during the week, so it's all ready for next week. So I've got to create this area here, put that little cup in. This has got a magnet in it. So when you pop it in there, it says, when you put it in properly, it's magnetized. That's all that holds it in, so it can do this rotation. It's a fun project, and you can see the plane works as well. At the end, it actually worked. This is cool. They say when you're making it, you can use the offcut as a support on a drill press to create this hole at 90 degrees. I'm not going to do that. I'll be putting it on my bench. I'll show you how I'm going to do that because I think you might be interested. Give me a second. Drop this down. And we'll switch to the other camera. So down here on my bench, I'll be using one of them there and one of these here. And because these are all done perfectly 90 degrees to each other and the same distance, these are all 96mm centers, all perfectly 90 degrees, I will then be able to put that on it like so, and then use this guy, reaching over along here. That's now perfectly horizontal because that's 45 degrees, has to be, held by the clamp. I'll do all my dimensions and everything, drill the hole and then chisel out while it's in there. So easy. Okay, do another look at it from the other side. It's going to be really, really sexy. If wood can be sexy. All right, let me see where we are. Sorry, autocorrect, you already answered rock maple, Paduk, purple heart, and Jarrah. Yes, and also the lever cap, or it's actually not a lever cap, it's the cap, cap iron, whatever you want to call it. This is red gum, and I'll probably do that as well. Figured red gum, it's beautiful. Nice and hard. This takes a fair bit of strain. I could either go Jarrah, but I like the red gum. I'm going to read the run sheet. Again, I hope I haven't bored everyone. I'd also like to thank my patrons that are on a certain level. When I change the camera here, back here. Johannes Mohr, John Parra, Vincent Ngian, Peter Woolworth, Justin Bailey, Brett Guthrie, Mike Deam, Wayne Cargill, John Lynch, Mr. Blue Eyes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of my patrons. You make it worthwhile my coming down and doing this. I could be having a nice Sunday with the family, but this is what I do. That sounds a little bit lame, but it's the truth. All right, let's see a quick look at the table from last week. We looked at that, and how cool are those the wheels for the thing. I can move it around. It's not going to tip over. Groove Jet, you're late. That's it. Look after yourselves. Be nice to each other. We're going to have the Patreon Zoom meeting just after this. Give me a couple of minutes. I'll make myself a cup of coffee and we'll hook in. See you next time. Bye.